Okay, before I even start talking about the topic, do not dig yourself a hole you cannot get out of first quarter. Don't do that Monday. All right, prepare yourself. I'm making sure you're preparing yourself because the homework this weekend's not even due until Tuesday. All right, so the homework at the end of today's notes, not even due until Tuesday, so you can focus on this for Monday. Am I nervous? I'm giving the first quiz on a Monday. You're darn right I am. All right, but that's where it falls, and we're an above-average math class, so I shouldn't have to worry. All right, but prepare yourself. Do not dig yourself such a deep hole that there's no shot you can dig out of it for the first quarter. And remember, what you did in Algebra 1 means nothing in this class. Nothing. All right, if you were a superstar in the 90s, that means nothing on Monday. All right, this quiz doesn't care. But what I am going to do for you, though, is basically serve the quiz to you here on a silver platter and say, here is every single topic. What you do, though, is on you. All right, whether you're going to prep for this or not. So it's 7 questions, 21 points, if anybody cares. I don't understand why kids want to know that, but there you go. I already talked. There's one construction from yesterday. It's going to be one of those 4 from your homework or find the midpoint. Be prepared for all of them. Facts about points, lines, and planes. What do I mean by that? Where's the... You can write, hey, name a point that is collinear with these 2 points. So you got to know what collinear means. If you want to write line UV, I expect you know how to write this on the quiz. All right, write everything in symbolic notation for me. These 3 vocabulary words are going to come up there somewhere. Collinear, coplanar, and then how do I name a plane? All right, so I'm going to give you this whole diagram. There's going to be points on it. There's going to be lines on it. Name the plane. So you got to remember how to name a plane. All right, draw your own diagram. That's going to be a little tough. I think we had 3 of those problems on homework a couple nights ago. We remember that where it was, I think it was, you had 3 lines on a plane, but all 3 weren't on the plane. So you had the plane, you had the plane, you had the 2 lines on the plane, and then remember I had to show the 3rd line was not on it. Like that. You have to draw your own diagram for me on one of the problems. All right. Algebra with segments. I just went over that. Something like this. Okay, something like this. Here you go. Here's another one. 2a plus 1, 16a minus 6. The whole thing is 42. Find the length of a, or find the value of a. That's what I mean with algebra and segments. Midpoint and distance formula. I have 0, and I'm being real here, 0 sympathy if you get those formulas wrong. You know it's going to be on there. You know you got to memorize them. I told you that when I introduced that to you. So I have 0 sympathy if you get something wrong with it. All right? Show me you're an above average and belong in this class. All right? And don't show me you're going to be lazy all year. All right? Figure it out come Monday. You have to know those 2 formulas. And then finally, nobody asked this. I'm surprised on the homework, so hopefully you think you're good at it. I'm going to give you an endpoint. I'm going to give you the midpoint. How do you find the other endpoint? That's what we did yesterday with all right, 1 to 6, you go how many units, and then you match that unit, number of units to get to point B. All right, so I'm going to throw this up on Classroom, probably 4th period today, my first free period, so you guys can reference that. And just so you know where it's going to be, so there's no excuses, under Unit 1, it's not live yet, but it says Unit 1 quiz review topics. This is where this slide will be. Anything I can answer right now, here's your time. Because when you walk in on Monday, I have no homework to check because it's due Tuesday. Or boom, here's your quiz. Good luck. No questions being asked because you do it now or after school today. Anything you want to ask about Monday. I'm coming strong because a lot of kids dig themselves big holes that they can't get out of because of the first quiz. We're all good. Going. Don't underestimate it. All right, I don't care what you did last year in Algebra 1 or what your grade was, good or bad. It's a fresh start come Monday. We're all good. Okay, so here we go then. Let's keep going. A reminder, this is not on what we start today, not on the quiz. Due Tuesday for homework, okay? Tuesday, it's due Tuesday, not Monday. Not even going to be looking for it. All right. Now we start looking at angles. We've looked at lines and segments. Now we start looking at angles. All right, I'm sure everyone's been exposed to angles before, but in this class, you got to be a real detailed about what I need by an angle. Before an angle, let me introduce a part of it. Day 2, when I introduced a line, and I've already said this already, but what do you have to have at the end of your lines? Arrows. Because if you take the arrows off, what other vocabulary term does it become? Line segment. Well, let's say you kept one arrow on and left the other one off. It's still not a line. That's this one we're talking about right now. It's called a ray. All right, that's what a ray is. It's an endpoint that goes on infinitely in one direction. So draw yourself an endpoint, and then it looks like part of a line going off infinitely in one direction. Let's label that endpoint A, and let's put B and C on my ray. All right, naming it now. Naming it. So, you know, with a line, the order doesn't matter. Segment, you just have the endpoints. It matters now. How you name this matters. First, the symbol. I know this is a shocker to you. Is a smaller ray. Just like it was a smaller line and a smaller segment. But the endpoint has to come first. All right, you can't name this CB. You can't name this BA. You have to name it A followed by another point on the ray. The endpoint has to come first when you name it. So whether you name it AB, ABC, or AC, A's got to come first, the endpoint. We okay with the ray? All right, I'm not going to waste your time here. I honestly should have deleted this over the summer because just get rid of it. Just cross out. It's a waste of time. So when I put two rays together, that share the same endpoint, that is an angle. Okay, that is called an angle. When I put two rays together that share the same endpoint. So let's introduce you to your first angle right now. Everyone see the two rays that share the same point? All right, there, that's an angle. Freehand it. Okay, on this, I'm going to put point B, point A, and point C. And inside the angle, I'm going to put the number 2. All right, how do I name an angle now? How do I name an angle? There's 3 different ways to name it. I want to show you all 3 and then basically tell you which one we're going to do all year. You can name it by the capital letter that's at its vertex. And what do I mean by vertex? That's where the 2 rays meet. All right, the 2 rays meet at what's called the vertex of the angle. So what would be my vertex up here? 15. Who's got 15? 15? What's my vertex? Where do the 2 rays meet? At A. So I could call this angle A. Ready for the symbol? Angle. There it is. A. Now, sometimes I don't roll like that. I use this sometimes. You can use either one. Ready? I can use that as the angle symbol with the arc mark through it. Sometimes I think I'm fancy and I use that. So I can name it by its vertex, angle A. Second way to name it, especially in your textbook, there might be a number inside. I can name it with that number inside. So I could also name this angle 2. Here is the last way and the way I prefer you do it. Name it with 3 letters where the middle letter is the vertex. All right, so name it with 3 letters where the middle letter is the vertex. So ready? Angle B, A, C. Does everyone see how I named it with 3 letters and the middle one is A, which is the vertex? Or I could go CAB. Either one works. I prefer you do number 3, please. And I'll get into why as we move along. Questions? Naming an angle. This is going to be, I'm going to slow this down here in a second. How to name an angle. All right, let's drop some knowledge on me here. What do you know about a right angle? 90 degrees, right? Measures 90 degrees. If you had let's draw a quick diagram of a right angle. Unfortunately, in this class, you're never going to see the 90 degrees written in. You're going to see something else that you recognize as a right angle. You will never see me write 90 degrees. You're going to see a symbol there that says, "Oh, hey, that's a right angle." Anybody seen that symbol before? What's it look like? What do you got for me there, Dylan? Oh, it's the box, right? That's what all the kids tell me. It's the box, Mr. Colino. It's the box. Yep, right angle. Straight angle, ever heard of that one? That's actually a vocab term we've already talked about this year. Straight angle. You know what it is? It's a what? What do I have up here? It's a line, yeah. Anybody know what it measures? Well, $1.80, right? Measures 180 degrees. I'm sure you've heard of acute angle. You just got to remember, oh, is it this one? Less than this? Greater than this? Acute? Acute? Anybody acute, Corey?
Less than 90.
Okay, yep. I'm going to actually just give a more detailed one, and I'll tell you why here. Between 0 and 90. Because when you go to Algebra 2 next year, if you make it out of here first, there are such thing as negative angles, believe it or not, and you'll deal with those in Algebra 2. And then how about obtuse? Obtuse. Okay, I'm going to say between between 90 and 180. Because next year, again, in Algebra 2, you'll talk about angles that are bigger than 180. All right, so I just want to remind you of those. I'm sure those are ones you've talked about before. All good? All right, now, how do I make one with my fancy compass now? All right, leave your compass off to the side first. When are two segments congruent? Going into Monday's quiz. Two segments are congruent if they have hash marks or have the same length, right? Well, let's talk about congruent angles now. All right, so let's draw two angles here for me. Just freehand it, draw. All right, let's put 52 degrees in each of them. So two segments are congruent when they have the same length, right? Well, two angles are congruent when they have the same degree measure. Right, when they have the same degree measure. So does everyone agree those two angles are congruent because they have the same degree measure? All right, name them for me. Here we go, name them. So I want to write, here's what I want to do with you right now. This angle is congruent to this angle, but I want you to name each one appropriately. So let's start with the one on the left. Can you name that angle for me appropriately? 5. Here we go, Jared. You want to name that angle for me? BEF. Yep, he could have also done FEB or angle E, I guess, right? BEF is congruent to angle. Name the other angle appropriately for me. 17. Dylan? XYZ. Good. All right, go back to segments for me. Don't draw this on your paper. But what do we have on segments? I don't know the length, but I know they're the same length. What do we usually see on them that says, oh, they're congruent? Hash marks, right? Well, for angles, you won't see hash marks. I kind of wiped those out, huh? You won't see hash marks on angles. You'll see, everyone ready for this? Arc marks. So you'll see these right here. Okay, you'll see arc marks on there. What's up with that? Oh, I do that for you guys?
Yeah.
We've talked about that?
Yeah.
Oh, I had to feel. Oh, all right. Sorry then. Sorry. For some reason, I didn't think we ever talked about that in
We
here.
talked about all of them.
Okay, sorry. Thank you for reminding me. I'm going to hold up to my end of the bargain. I just want to let me stop the video because nobody wants to watch. Everyone good? You have 2 arc marks right now. Doesn't look like an angle yet because we're not done. All right, go back to angle A. Do you see the 2 points that your arc intersected the rays? Do you see those 2 points? Make points on them for me because this is going to be going in the next step. 2 points on there. Take your compass and open it up to those 2 points now. No markings, just open it up. Take your compass, open it up to those 2 points. And this is what you have to remember to finish this construction. We're going to go back over to the ray now, but I'm not going to go to point B. Watch, I'm going to put my compass point where that first arc intersected the ray. See where I put my compass point? Not on B, where it intersected the ray. And now what I need you to do, either above or below, not both, but above or below, I need you to make it so the 2 arcs intersect now. Okay, so put your compass point right where it intersected, and either below the ray or above the ray, I need you to make a second arc that intersected that first one. So maybe if it's not intersecting, some of you might need to go back to that first one and make it longer, which happens. You just didn't make it long enough. All right, so if you can't get them to intersect, go back to the first one, make it longer. And then you guys that are up to this point, grab your straight edge, line up the point of intersection with point B, and draw in the other half of your angle. And the finishing, to put the finishing touches on this, how do you show me they're congruent? What did we just say? What should you put on angles to make them congruent? What do we got? Go ahead, guys. What do you have? Arc marks. Yep. I don't. For me, I always roll with double arc marks, but that's just how I roll, I guess. You can do singles. All right, one doesn't make you great, and I want to come around and help you guys that are struggling, or maybe, whoa. So in some white space on that page or on the back of your packet, you're going to do this again on your own. So draw your own angle right now. Okay, draw your own angle that you're going to copy. Okay, so just freehand it, draw your own angle that you're going to copy. You want to call it angle C, fine. And then right next to it, make sure you get a ray drawn to do the construction on. I will be coming around, taking a peek at your construction if you need help. All right, copying an angle. So you're just doing this on your own now. Make that ray first that you can do everything on.
Use the space to make an angle. Oh, you're going to make a ray. And then put an arc on the nose. You have 2 brain cells that are over here. I need this compass to work. This is just
How are we doing, guys?
I got paid $70.
What do you got next? So make this the one you're copying, right?
Right.
Okay, so put your compass point on C and make an arc through. No, just as long as it goes. No, just as long as it goes through both. And then come on over to your ray.
I don't know how they did the math where it goes from 17 an hour
Now measure
to
the opening,
$70,
the 2 points of intersection.
and
right
they
there.
paid me for a day I didn't even come.
And then come on over to your ray now where you remember where to put your point. Don't put it on the end point, put it on where that arc intersected. Yep. Put your compass point on there. And then you can make it intersect both or below.
Oopsies.
Put your compass point on there. Yeah. And now make it intersect that arc above or below, doesn't matter. Yep, keep going. Keep going. Go see what's going to intersect here. Okay, and then line that up. And if they don't intersect, just go back and make this one bigger. Okay?
Fantastic.
You sure you're all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just getting used to that compass, right?
Yeah.
How's everyone else doing here? We all right? Look, I'm with you here. There's a lot of constructions up there. We're not even done with the unit yet. I got more constructions for you too. It's a lot of steps to memorize, but luckily we got the YouTube channel that's got all the help there you need.
I also don't know what to do.
Okay, questions, comments, anything we gotta go over? Going? All right, let me move on then to one more vocabulary term. I'm gonna skip around here for the last part of the notes, just so I get to the meat of it. All right, we're going to be done with constructions. All right, so put your compass and straight edge off to the side. I know there's a construction here, but we'll finish that on Tuesday. All right, last vocabulary term I want to talk today. What was the point called that cuts a line segment in half? Oh boy, a point that cuts the line segment in half. What did we call that yesterday?
Midpoint.
Midpoint, right? Midpoint cuts it into 2 congruent line segments. Well, what if I want to cut an angle in half? All right, so here, everyone draw angle BAC for me. Draw in a ray AX. So A, X. Put X somewhere on that ray. So here's the diagram they're giving me. Now let's talk about this term right here. Bisects. If an angle is getting bisected, it is being cut into 2 congruent angles. All right, again, if an angle is getting bisected, it is getting cut into two congruent angles. So everyone see how I just formed two angles there? Name them for me. Here's where I start to get worried. Can you start naming angles properly? So give me at least one of the angles that was just formed there. So angle blank, congruent to angle blank here now. Name one of the angles I just formed by drawing in AX. Name one of and it's got to go in the correct order. All right? Just can't throw 3 letters at me. It's got to go in the correct order. Let's hear from 15. Yep, go ahead, Alexi.
So angle BAC.
Oh, that's the full angle though. Right? Hey, if I go follow your letters, B to A to C, that's the full angle I started with. I'm cutting that angle in half. So do you see the 2 angles that were formed when I drew in AX? Okay, so now name one of the angles that was formed. Good job. BAX. And why do I like BAX? Because if I follow BAX, everyone see it forms that angle. I cannot call it ABX. That's not an angle. All right, the order of the letters matter. And that'll be congruent to the other angle that was formed. Name that one. 19, Cormac. XAC or CAX. Yep, good work. So a bisector cuts an angle into two congruent ones. And what can I put on the diagram now at these two angles? If they're congruent, what can I put on them? Arc marks, yep. And hey, just do me a favor, especially when they're right next to each other. Try to offset those arc marks for me so it doesn't look like one full one. So that is what a bisector does. Cuts an angle into two congruent angles. I'm going to skip over the construction until Tuesday because I want to get to one last algebra question. You missed that one too, by the way, in the nominations. Anybody see that? Fade? You missed that one. Fade. And star. Did you put star on there? Curtains? You missed white, fade, page curl. What's the other one? I think the one that comes here. Page curl. All right? No, book is... There's a lot. Yeah. There's page curl, which comes from here, and then there's book that looks like you're turning a page of a book. Okay. They're totally different. Don't give me they're the same. Totally different. All right, moving on here. Let's try to get through this one before we end class. Kn bisects. Everyone see where Kn is? It bisects LKM. So everyone find LKM right now. Locate that angle on that diagram for me. Everyone see where LKM is. Follow the order of the letter. Trace it with your fingers if you have to. L to K to M. Kn is bisecting it, meaning it's cutting it into two congruent angles. I'm going to walk around right now. Can you please put arc marks on the two angles you think are congruent now because of that statement? Put arc marks on the two angles that are congruent now. LKM is being cut into two congruent angles by Kn. Put two arc marks on that diagram where you think they're congruent. Nice job, nice job, nice job. Way to work. So you guys have this right here. These two angles are now equal. Yes, good job. All right, let's go to example 1 now. First, this notation here. Everyone see that little m there? That means the measure. The measure, all right? I just don't want you to get freaked out. The measure of LKM is 7x minus 5. So everyone see where LKM is. That is 7x minus 5. This whole angle from here to here is 7x minus 5. NKM, find that angle. NKM, trace it. NKM is 3x plus 9. What is the measure? How many degrees are in LKM? How many degrees? Ooh, we're going to have to set something up here, aren't we? To solve for x. Wait, whoa! What do these markings you put on there mean? They're equal. So if I just threw a 3x plus 9 here, guess what's going on that other angle I can put? Oh, 3x plus 9. Why is that helpful? Because if I put both of those together, what do I end up with? 7x minus 5. Everyone see that? So now I can set up confidently 3x plus 9 plus the other angle 3x plus 9 is equal to the whole thing, which you just told me was 7x minus 5. Go and solve it for x. Oh, wow, that cut me off pretty quick. All right. Remember, we'll finish the rest of this Tuesday. You don't have to focus on any of this until Monday night. So get ready for the quiz.